In today's show, it's finally here. Hansen's debut with the Portland Trail Blazers, or at least the Las Vegas Summer League edition of the Portland Trail Blazers. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's rejoice. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we're talking Summer League. It's Hansen's debut. Let's go. Rejoice. It's finally here. Plus, I'll talk about kind of what I'm anticipating from watching him at Summer League, kind of what I think about what we might see and how I'm going to watch it. In general, some thoughts on how to watch and react to Summer League through the from your couch, or if you happen to be in the building, because a lot of people go these days. Like kind of what is real, what isn't when you're watching Summer League, and some caveats in both directions. Plus, the Blazers added a new assistant coach to the roster. Welcome to Rip City, James Posey. We'll talk about that to close the show. Let's get into it. It's here. Hansen's going to play basketball, and he's going to wear, it's not really a Portland Trail Blazers jersey. It's an NBA Summer League jersey with the Portland Trail Blazers. But I am like legitimately very excited to watch this on Friday evening. It's going to be fun. I think I certainly didn't have this level of excitement to watch Donovan Clingan debut in Summer League, to be just tell you honest. I like Donovan Clingan just fine, but I didn't have this level of excitement. This is on par with my anticipation of Scoop, but there is something. It's probably stronger than that, quite frankly, because of just the general mystery box part of it all. Like, Hansen's played games, right? Like, you can, in fact, right before I press record on this very podcast, if you've got access to League Pass, you can go back and watch him play California Classic games in Summer League last year. That's the held in Sacramento, the like pre-Vegas Summer League that they host there. I watched the first half of his game against the Hornets, just to get sort of a feel for what I might be anticipating and to continue to key up the anticipation. And because I guess I'm just fiending to watch Hansen play basketball. So like he's not like a complete mystery if you care to watch, right? He's played some international competition against various NBA level players, some CBA games, right? But in terms of the translation from playing in the CBA to the NBA and the general anticipation on draft night that he was like a pick in the 30s, and the Blazers called their shot, traded back to get him at 16, one of the more surprising picks of, the last 5 years or so. I believe Sam Vecini called it one of the most surprising picks of the last decade. He knows this stuff better than I do. For me, just like one of the more surprising first-round picks I can remember. There's part of that whole package is wrapped up into the anticipation of watching Hansen play. I'm excited. I've missed basketball too, quite frankly. I watched a little bit of the WNBA, but it's the NBA is really the NBA is really what gets my blood going, and so I'm excited to watch the worst version of it, which is NBA Summer League. But I'm sort of, as I'm gearing up and thinking about watching Hansen, I mentioned this to begin the week, is like kind of. He's the most exciting player, and I'm curious how the Blazers use him. Like, so much of what I'm curious about is how. Does he run mostly pick and rolls? Does he run a lot of high post stuff? Does he get direct post ups touches? I do think as a prospect, for me, I think he is going to be much stronger on offense than he is on defense as he makes the transition to the pros. I'll talk about his defense in a little bit, but I know that he won Defensive Player of the Year in the CBA. I do not think that is a translatable award in any way whatsoever. There's no 3 seconds in the CBA, and there aren't NBA level athletes. It's just a different thing. But when you watch him play, the offensive gifts look much more translatable than the defensive gifts. I think he's just going to be, I think he's going to be a much stronger early in his career on offense than he's on defense. Eventually, you hope that he's good at everything, right? But to be, he's 20, right? Setting reasonable expectations. Have your strengths be strong. And to my eyes, I think his strengths are absolutely on the offensive end of the floor. That's I think where you're going to see him be his best self. My question is, again, how do they use him? Watching him play with the Chinese team in the California Classic last year, they ran some direct post-ups for him. Just like an action that you will see NBA teams run for like guys they want to post up. The Nuggets will run this for Jokic sometimes. It's what they call a wedge screen in the NBA. It's when an off-ball little guard comes and screens the center away from the ball, kind of like near the foul line, extended like at the elbow. So you can like either catch on the move, which is what they do for Jokic a lot, or in Hansen's case, kind of get space to get to the block, and then you can throw like a direct post up in there. I don't think the Blazers are going to run many of those wedge screen post-ups. I mean, Terry Stotts used to run a similar action like that for LaMarcus Aldridge with Wesley Matthews as the screener. It's not like it's totally never happens in the league. Like I mentioned, like Denver does an action just like that. When the games start in October, I don't know if Hansen will be a direct post-up center, right? Like, we'll see. But I do think in Summer League, he should get some post-up touches, because his feet are great in the post. Like, he has good footwork. He loves to spin. The man loves to spin and get to his right hand. He'll spin baseline. He'll spin mid. He spins mostly middle, but he'll spin baseline if you give it to him. I want to see that. I want to see those post-up actions. I want to see them run plays that are like, let's throw it to him on the block and let him go to work, because I want to see him go to work. I think that's where his strengths are. Like, I think the Blazers have to be thinking like, let's get him some confidence. Now, if it doesn't work right away, you don't want to like force feed it, right? Like that's what I've referred to in the past as bow-bonding. It's like you just get obsessed with how tall someone is and say, this has to work. Keep throwing in the ball. It's like, sometimes it works. Boban was an incredibly efficient per-minute monster, but sometimes if you get obsessed with throwing it, with like chasing mismatches, it's not your most efficient play. So I want to see him get touches in the post, intentional touches in the post. I want to see him run pick and roll, because I not only want to see him like as just a straight up roll man, right? Like I guess it would be Caleb Love, but it could be Ryan Rupert. But Caleb Love, like come off screen, maybe CD Sissoko too a little bit because he's an okay passer. He's a good passer, but like I want to see him come off a screen and roll to the rim and kind of feel that space, because I think that's a real skill as a big man, is rolling to the rim and not just like, hey, there's a wide open lane, you get to roll just nobody, parted sea to the rim. But when you do roll the rim in a crowd, rolling to the rim, getting a feel for either getting behind someone and getting a lob, or creating a little bit of space to catch in front, or kind of like being a decoy, right? Like rolling till you're just enough of a worry that the ball handler can get to the rim. That feel on pick and rolls is something I want to watch closely with him. I also want to watch if they do switch on pick and rolls, if defense switch on pick and rolls, can Hansen mash in the post, mashing every time you get a small on you. I don't know if he'll be a direct post-up guy, but anytime he gets someone who's like 6'5" on him, if they switch on the perimeter, or if they get caught in a late switch in a pick and roll, walk that dude down to the block and just eat him alive. Like I want to see that. And some high post stuff and the passing. He's a really good passer. Summer League might not be super organized enough to see a ton of passing, but good passers have a way of showing you they're good passers just by feel and weight. And what I talk about that is just like a guy who can really pass. He'll make simple reads, or he'll make easy passes with give you just instead of a simple bounce pass, a little bounce pass with a read, or like hit ahead passes or passes to the corner. What I'm talking about is weight. Is like good passers, you'll know it when you see it. It'll have great weight on the ball. When do you throw a bullet? When do you throw a lob? When do you throw in between those two speeds to throw a perfect pass? Good passers have a way of showing you they can pass, even make simple reads. I think we'll see that, even if we don't see crazy dimes. But obviously, I want to see some crazy dimes. I want to see that. I want to see some grab and go stuff. I want to see if they let him get a defensive rebound and push up the floor. Maybe he won't be able to do that, and maybe it'll be a real struggle in this level of competition for him to do that. But I hope he has the green light to try some of that stuff, some open floor stuff, because that's like in the CBA highlights in China. It's like, yeah, Hansen can do that, and that's fun. It's really general variety on offense. Post-ups, pick and roll, high post, in transition, the passing, like the general variety. And I want to see his touch around the rim because I think it's really good. I want to see that translate. Obviously, the spinning. Dude loves a spin move. I want to see that. And I want to see him play through contact. Generally, big players in the NBA, the way it works, and this is not always true in Summer League, but often, is like Big players, they just let you get beat up more than little guys. Big players have to deal with getting fouled more. I think the Thunder kind of unlocked it with Alex Caruso. Put Alex Caruso on Nikola Jokic in Game 7 of that game, and they're just like, Alex Caruso, foul him every time down the floor. They won't call it. Now, they called a little bit of it, but you're just allowed to get away with so much physicality against bigs. And I want to see Hansen play through contact and that type of physicality, because Summer League can be very physical, often is very physical, because everybody's kind of playing for a job. And I want to see him play through mistakes. I think that's an important part about young players. In a perfect world, Hansen is, 11 for 11 from the floor, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 11 assists, 0 turnovers, 13 rebounds, 4 blocks. He's probably not going to have that game, right? He's not going to have this Monstar game. He's going to make some mistakes. Like last year in the California Classic, he shot under 44% from the floor, right? He's going to miss some shots. He's going to struggle a little bit at times. But the part of being young, he was 19 when he just turned 19 playing in the California Classic last year. He's just turned 20. It's he's probably better. He's probably more physical. He's probably just a generally better basketball player, stronger person, more mature human. So playing through mistakes. When you do screw up, when you do maybe drop a pass or you try to fit a pass through and turn the ball over, when you do get beat on defense, hang your head, or do you get after it? Do you just is all of a sudden you responding to mistakes? I want to talk about his defense. I want to talk about how I will watch Summer League with what's known as the Nicholas Batum, Josh Selby scale. Join me in that second segment. We'll talk more about Hansen, particularly on the defensive end, and plus watching Summer League. That's what we'll do. Join me there. First, though, I want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by the good folks over at Gametime. If you want to go see last-minute sporting events, you want to get tickets, last-minute tickets to sporting events, well, Gametime is a place to do it. You can take your friends, you can take your family, you can take someone you are courting, whether it's game day, game night, and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you can have a little fun. You can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group so the whole gang can come, and Gametime makes it possible. It's fast and simple to use Gametime. Prices on the app actually drop closer you get to the start of the event. So whether that's first pitch or kickoff or tip-off, if you're at NBA Summer League, you're going to get a deal. Plus, they got clear seat views. So you can get a panoramic view from your seat before you purchase, and a low price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use that redemption code, LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. So I'm excited to watch Hansen on offense. I think that's his best side of the ball. The other side of the ball seems a little dicier. I don't think he's going to get filleted on defense. I just think he's going to be worse there. There may be some moments where you're like, oh yeah, that's a place where he needs to get better. I think he'll struggle on defense in the NBA this season. Young players typically struggle on defense in the NBA. I think he's going to have a physicality and speed adjustment that is going to be a significant leap from the quality of competition he has typically played against. And he's 20. It's just a big leap for him. He's making a big leap. Summer League is not the NBA though. It's not. You're going to be playing in any given game in Summer League. You might be playing against one dude who gets rotation minutes in the league the following year. It's a lot of guys on the fringe. It's still high-level basketball. It's competitive high-level basketball, right? It's like Summer League teams would smoke most college teams by many. But it's not NBA quality, because the jump to playing against true stars who feast on your weaknesses is just a whole nother thing. So I don't think maybe Hansen's defense is not. It's not perfect, right? But I think I think there is a level that he could play at that is raises a red flag a little bit on the defensive ends. And I think in general, playing really well at Summer League is okay, cool, that was a good performance. Whereas playing really poorly at Summer League actually probably draws up more. I'll talk a little bit about the Batum Selby scale in a moment. But so there are some struggles that Hansen could have on defense where I'd be like, oh no, but in general, I think he's going to have a little bit of problem there. So I just generally will not freak out much at all. But yeah, hey, that's a place where he needs to improve. I think the lateral quickness is one thing that is for sure worth keeping an eye on. He's pretty fast end to end for his size. Like straight line running, that's not like people will watch him run and be like, wow, he's faster than I thought he'd be. And I agree. But like that's different than the lateral quickness to move and stay in front of guards on a switch and all those things. Like quite frankly, like those are different muscles, running forward and running sideways. It's just like a different set of power that you have to generate. Those are different skills. They're like it's physically a different thing. But so I think the lateral quickness is one thing. If he struggles there, sure. Like, that's just something he'll have to get better at, but also you can mitigate some of your lateral quickness by being really big, and he happens to be really big, and you just have to get smarter about not getting caught, right? And I think that's one thing that, Donovan Clingan really has struggled with lateral quickness, but he did a really good job this year of saying like, I'm so big. What if I give you a little bit of space and like make, and like try to avoid the situations where I'm just like guarding way out on the perimeter and feel like I have to move my feet too much. Like you can figure it out. Clingan is obviously a much better defensive player than I expect Hansen to be, but Hansen is probably a much better offensive player than I think Clingan is. So there you go. It's a give and take. The thing I'll actually be watching though for Hansen on defense is his off-ball anticipation. That's going to be much where I'm keyed on than the lateral quickness. Because like, sure, he gets caught on switches, whatever, you get burned. Like big guys get burned on switches. That's life, right? Like Rudy Gobert is a 4-time defensive player of the year, and teams try to get him on switches and try to make him guard in the perimeter. He to varying degrees, he gets super cooked, or he's had some moments where that are less viral, where Gobert's like totally functional out there. But again, that's like one of the best defensive players of all time. You're going to struggle if you're that big. You're going to struggle on the perimeter. So it's off-ball anticipation. When you are weak side and you're not in the play, how quickly does Hansen get over to the rim? How quickly is he disruptive as a rotating shot blocker? How quickly does he show help when he needs to? It's that off-ball anticipation, the reading and reacting on defense that I think is actually a better sign of your overall defensive potential than like, can you stay in front of this whatever little NCAA guard that they've thrown out there, right? Like Jamari Bouye cooks you. Whoops. Like, it's fine. Jamari Bouye is probably like 28. He's not an NCAA guard. In any case, like I said, playing well at Summer League, not a guarantee, and playing poorly to me is also not a guarantee. I do think it's a little bit worse. But I want to talk about the Nicholas Batum, Josh Selby scale as a way of not overreacting, regardless of what Hansen does at Summer League. And I'm just focusing on him. Like, I'm going to watch, like, I'll mention this in a second. Hold on. So Nicholas Batum comes to Summer League as a teenager. At the time, we were calling him Batum. We didn't know who he was, right? Like he's brand new, and he stunk in Vegas. Like could barely dribble across half court. Stunk, horrendous. I was very, very worried. He won the starting job in training camp that fall. Started for a Nate McMillan team. Is still in the NBA 17 years later or whatever it is. Don't overreact. On the other side of the spectrum is the Josh Selby. Josh Selby was co-MVPs with Damian Lillard in 2012 of Summer League. Damian Lillard, MVP of Summer League, went on to win Rookie of the Year, is a Hall of Famer. Josh Selby, co-MVP of Summer League, did not stick in the league, barely played. Don't overreact. The important thing about Summer League is seeing things that are repeatable and figuring out where that guy fits into the role that he has on his team and how you can repeat it. That's not naturally done for every single player you watch in Summer League, but if you are a big Blazers fan, you're thinking about Hansen, it's easy to say like, okay, well that's something he's not good at, so they can figure that out. That's something he's really good at, so they can figure that out. But if he does struggle, there are Nicholas Batums, and if he does dominate, there are Josh Selbys. Obviously, there are players who struggle a bunch and were not NBA players, like I said, red flags, and there's players who are really stinking good in Summer League. Donovan Mitchell comes to mind, Damian Lillard, who was like, oh yeah, they're going to be really good, and they were right away, right? Like that type of thing. The other thing to watch in Summer League is I like to think of it as there's sort of two different baskets guys fall in. There's guys expanding their role, and there's guys finding their role. So Ryan Rupert, he's going to be playing his third summer league with the Blazers. And for him, it's about expanding his role. It's about doing stuff in summer league that you wouldn't get an opportunity to do when you play with the Blazers. So on-ball, pick-and-roll stuff, like taking off the dribble three-pointers, dribbling the ball, 15 times in a possession, attacking the rim, getting downhill, and making plays on a drive and kick, right? Because Rupert's going to be an off-ball spacer wing when he plays for the Blazers if he gets playing time at all. But at Summer League, as a third-year guy, and it really doesn't matter how young he is. At this point, it's just like he's had enough NBA experience that he needs to be pretty good in Summer League for you to feel good about it. He doesn't need to be dominant, but if he's bad in Summer League, I think it's like you've seen enough of him at an NBA level to be like, okay, that's a bad sign. Again, you don't have to write it off, but it would be worse for a guy like Rupert, who is an older player who you're looking to expand his role to struggle than for other players. Other players are guys like Hansen and the two-way guys, Caleb Love and Sidi Sissoko. It's about establishing their role. What do you do on the court at Summer League that can get you to stick, right? Okay, for Hansen, it's like, well, if he catches it and can get to the middle with his right hand, good stuff happens. How do they do that in the regular season? And for Love and Sissoko, it's like you see some strengths and figure out, okay, what are those things, and how are those translatable? Or is it just like, if someone just like has a crazy shooting night, it's like, well, if they go say 6 of 14 from 3, it's like, well, you're probably not going to get 14 3-pointers in an NBA game. So like, what is that? What does it look like in a normal role? And then I think the most important thing when you're watching Summer League is underreacting, but knowing what you see. So using the Batum and Selby scale, right? Was you want to underreact to terrible stuff and underreact to wonderful stuff, but knowing what you see. Like I said, like, hey, there's some stuff here. Offensive touch, the weight on those passes, those type of things where you say, like, this person Hansen can play, but he's got to clean this stuff up. Or Hansen is good at these things and these will work, bad at these things and these won't work. Here's where he needs to get better. Or, okay, Caleb Love can, he's strong and relentless. What does it look like? Underreacting to the actual box score stuff and the results, like, don't even look at the box score really, but underreacting to that stuff and kind of knowing what you see in context of the team they exist on. That is the magic of being an amateur scout at Summer League. Okay, let's talk James Posey. The Blazers hired a new assistant coach, and we will get into who they are. Actually, you've probably heard of him if you've been following the NBA for the last 2 decades. Welcome to Rip City, James Posey. We'll talk about that to close the show. Join me in that third segment. Still a pass first point guard. Still Mike Richmond. You are still listening to Locked On Blazers. The Blazers today announced a new addition to Chauncey Billups' coaching staff. It's NBA veteran James Posey. Pose! Welcome to Rip City. James Posey had a 12-year NBA career spanning from 1999 to 2011. He was a 2-time NBA champion during his time in the league. Won a title with the Heat in 2006 and won a title with the Celtics in 2008. He was a pretty useful part of both of those championship teams as sort of a role player forward. After he retired in 2011, he eventually got into coaching, working in the Cavaliers organization. First in the G League, where he was an assistant with the Canton Charge. I guess at the time that might have still been the D in the D League, when the G didn't stand for Gatorade and the D stand for development. He was in the NBA Developmental League in 2013-2014 with the Canton Charge. From there, he was hired on to various staffs because a couple different coaches, but he was hired to be an assistant with the Cleveland Cavaliers from 2014 through the 2018-2019 season. He spent a fairly long time, 7 years with the Cavaliers organization, one way or another, coaching, right? Like that's a good little stint in the league, figuring out how it works. He was an assistant coach on the Cavs team that won the championship in 2016. Like, the dude has, he's been around winning a bunch. After the 2019 season, when it all went away, he briefly coached for the University of Virginia women's basketball team during the 21-22 season. The head coach at the time of the Virginia Cavaliers was Tina Thompson, WNBA legend and Trailblazers scout. Do not look up what the UVA women's basketball record was in 21-22. Just don't look it up. Trust me. Don't get curious. So Tina Thompson was let go from that job, maybe perhaps related to that record, and so Posey's role on the UVA bench was short-lived. And Thompson was actually hired by the Blazers as a scout in 2022 and still works in that role now. So like, there's your connection with at least with some in the organization. But following that stint with UVA, Posey got hired and worked as an assistant with the Washington Wizards, and he spent the 22-23 and 23-24 season with Washington. With the Wizards, he was under Wes Unseld Jr. and then Brian Keefe when Unseld Jr. got fired. And then after the 2024 season, last year, Posey was on Mike Budenholzer's staff in Phoenix for the 24-25 season. And so he comes to the Blazers from Phoenix. I think this is it's so hard to know the quality of assistant coaches or what they're going to actually do or be helpful. But I think in general, what I look for in assistant coaching hires is literally just experience. Does the resume include the understanding of the grind? Obviously, you don't have to do that. There's guys who make the transition, but assistant coaching is a bunch of unglamorous stuff. It's a text message at 4 a.m. from a dude who's having a bad week saying like, hey, can you rebound for me? They're probably going to text the video coordinators first, but they might end up with you depending on where you are on the list. It's a lot of late nights with film. It's a lot of grinding. It is a hard job. It is a grind of a job. It is unglamorous, challenging work. So like part of me when I look at assistant coaching is like, have you been in the league? Do you understand the challenge of this? Do you understand what getting a scout ready for someone who you play in 3 days, but you've got to get through a game, get on a plane, get to like just the rhythm that it takes. And Posey, who's, coached a long time for the Cavs, coached a couple seasons with the Wizards, and most recently with the Suns. He's a dude who obviously wants to be in the league. He barely has been away since he retired in 2011. Like he spent a little time away after he finished working for the Cavs, but for the most part, he has coached in the G League. He's coached in the NBA. He spent a little time as a women's basketball coach in women's college basketball. As an assistant. This is someone who understands the grind, appreciates the grind, just a hoop lifer. And I think hoop lifer is if nothing else, is a great resume for NBA assistant coach. Also, like, I don't know that this matters, but typically I think stars don't make good coaches. I think that's like I don't even know if that's necessarily true all the way down, but it is like a stereotype that's true, but role players make really good coaches. And I think James Posey, like a guy who hung around in the league for 12 seasons and figured out how to be a high level contributor, like, through a decade long NBA career, that's helpful to have a guy on the bench. Here's how you survive. Because the NBA is, for so many dudes, about survival, about figuring out where you get in, where you fit in. And that kind of ties back into Summer League, right? So much of this stuff is like, Summer League's so meaningless, right? It's so meaningless. Do you remember Summer League moments? Yeah, I think I remember Damian Lillard dunking on Keith Benson. Like I remember that. I remember Petteri Koponen and Jared Bayless and how excited I was in that summer for those guys. Like, sure. But in general, like, what you're doing in Summer League is figuring out where you can fit in. You're figuring out the rhythms of your NBA team, what it's like to communicate with coaches and all of those things. And then you're going out to get, like, play a little bit in games that don't matter and figuring out where you fit in. And now Posey's probably not going to be a big member of the Summer League staff necessarily. But like, the whole coaching staff's there. The whole organization is there. Pretty much everyone in the NBA is there. It's pretty fun. The first weekend of Summer League's fun. If you're in the gym, go enjoy it, because like everyone in the NBA is there. It's a fun time. So like Posey, a guy who has learned to stick in the league and is working hard to stick in the league forever as he grinds his assistant coaching jobs. I think that speaks to the importance of Summer League. Get in where you fit in and stick around if you can. I think that is the lesson for so many in the NBA. That is going to do it for this week of shows. Next time you hear me, the Blazers will have played 2 Summer League games. We'll have 2 games of Hansen to talk about. I'll promise this. Friday night, I'm going to watch this game. If Hansen goes nuts, I will record. You'll get a 6th show this week. I will. I'll hop on the microphone late Friday night and we'll talk about it. Because if he goes nuts, like if it's just like a bonkers game and everyone is popping, I will hop on the microphone and we'll do a little short recap. If not, look for Sunday's show after both of the games. They play Friday, Saturday. After both of the games, look for Sunday's show and we'll talk all things from Hansen's first 2 games in the league, plus Love and Rupert and Sissoko and any other news and notes from the Blazers' first 2 preseason games. Tell your friends about the podcast. Tell them they can get it wherever they get podcasts and also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.